Hi, good morning. This is Evi Sayono. Today is Monday, December 18th, 2023. Now we'll be continuing my reading of a book entitled Should I Stay or Should I Go? Surviving a Relationship with a Narcissist, written by Ramani Durvasula, PhD. Introduction. Is this you? Page 6, paragraph 2. Rachel began to notice that he wasn't always nice to other people when they were out and about, demanding the best service, to be at the head of the line, complaining about the table at a busy restaurant. John was impatient and demanding with service people. It was embarrassing, and yet at those times he would simultaneously draw her close and tell her how beautiful she was. It felt confusing and unsettling. Over time, the late nights continued, and Rachel felt more and more isolated. When he did come home on time, John wanted her to be ready to go out or have something made to eat. But when he would give her an estimated time of arrival, it was 50-50 whether he would show, and she ate a lot of home cooked meals alone. About once a month, she would call him out on his behavior, and he would rage at her with a tirade about her selfishness, that she had it easy and he worked so hard. Did she just want to put a tracking system on him? He would also turn it on her and ask her, "Why are you asking me so many questions? Are you trying to hide something?" She had other things going on in her life. A reorganization at work was making her work life challenging, and her sister had developed breast cancer. The stress was taking a toll on her, and he rarely asked about it. When she talked about it, he would barely listen or sometimes even blame her for her difficulties at work. And he would minimize her sister's experience, citing medical statistics about prognosis, rather than simply comforting her in her time of fear and concern for her sister. During these months, Rachel was planning the wedding, and it was going to be a show. A posh resort hotel in Santa Barbara with no expense spared. A one dress, high-end gourmet food from a friend who had a catering business in Montecito, wine they handpicked from local wineries, a band they had heard performing one night in a local bar, and friends flying in from all over the country for a weekend to celebrate their love. There were numerous decisions to be made, and John would be engaged and participating in them half the time and not give a damn the other half. It felt completely unpredictable. She would make a series of decisions when he failed to show up to a meeting and then undo them all when he finally did, with him often berating her for her choices, which he told her to make in the first place, or didn't show up to assist with. Doubt, second guessing. But she was engaged and had the ring, the home, the dress, the upcoming wedding, the rewarding job, and the successful fiancé, living the dream. One night, Rachel opened up to John more about some of her dreams in the arts and a program that summer in Tuscany. 6 weeks, and they could rent a home. She could paint and write, and he could take a break and join her for part of it. He laughed at her and mocked her ambitions, calling her lazy for wanting to take a leave from her job, telling her he thought it was a joke that she fancied herself an artist and that his work was too important for him to be jumping off to some ridiculous artist's enclave in the middle of nowhere. While she appreciated that perhaps it wasn't practical, John talked at her like she was foolish and ridiculous. It felt like an audible click to her. her dreams being clipped right in front of her. And Rachel started to believe him and doubted herself more. About 3 months before the wedding, a co-worker who had met her fiancé at a work event saw her husband at a gentleman's club type of establishment. Her fiancé was clearly irregular, was escorted discreetly with one of the women into a back room of the establishment, and later was seen kissing her while he was standing at his car. Rachel's co-worker decided to let sleeping dogs lie and not stick his nose in it. In the weeks to come, Rachel and John were at a holiday event at her workplace, and the co-worker who knew about the strip club shenanigans was there as well. John was rude that evening, dismissive of her, and at times behaving in a manner that felt inappropriate to many observers, flirtatious with a young attractive entrant. At that point, the co-worker took Rachel aside and shared with her his concerns about her fiancé. He suggested they talk again during the week. On Tuesday after work that week, they stepped out for a cup of coffee, and he spoke to her about what he saw and his concerns about John, especially after his conduct at the party. Rachel went to her usual drill. She defended him. It couldn't have been him. I bet he was home with me that night. He is a doctor. He wouldn't do that. She then became angry at her co-worker, who had been a long-time friend and whose wife was also a friend, wondering why he felt the need to do this. But she left their coffee meeting unsettled, and John wasn't home yet. He finally arrived after she had already gone to bed. The next day, she made a few inquiries at the hospital, and her detective work revealed that John was not there that night. The co-worker's story stuck with her. She asked her co-worker what club it was, and the next time John claimed to be on call and he didn't come home, she went by the club, and his car, a shiny new Tesla, was in the lot. Rachel went home and waited for his return. She called him out the minute he walked in at 2:30 a.m. He clearly smelled like someone else, and she was enraged. Initially, he was infuriated at the accusation, and when she told him she had seen his car, he accused her of being a stalker bitch. But John didn't have much wiggle room, so the next day, he sat with her and said that perhaps they just needed a vacation. He was gentle and loving. He apologized, said he was there with a buddy from work who liked those kinds of places, and that he understood how it would have felt weird to her to see that. He suggested a long weekend away, an island, first class all the way, just the two of them. A last break before the wedding. I would end my reading today on page 8, paragraph 3. I'm reading the introduction part of a book entitled Should I Stay or Should I Go? Surviving a Relationship with a Narcissist, written by Ramani Durvasula, PhD. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you again next time. I'm Effie Sayono. Bye.